And welcome back to the DIY van build, my peeps. We made it through another week of work, and now it's time for another project in the van. And in today's project, we get a brand new set of floors. Check them out. Now, if you're new here, my name is Jeff Dares. This channel is Dares Drives, and we started a video build series in which we're making bite-sized, step-by-step videos while we go through all these parts and we fit them into this 2019 Mercedes Sprinter van, which we're converting into a 4x4 overland roaming home, which we want to travel the continent with. So if you like that kind of thing, maybe hit that subscribe. So to complete our floor job in our van, we need 3 different products. The first one being some rigid styrofoam for insulation. We need some plywood as our subfloor, and then one more layer, which is our vinyl floor itself. But we're going to start with just the insulation, which is this product right here. So this is a Durafoam insulation made by a company called Plastifab, 1.5 inch thick. Now, when watching a lot of the videos on YouTube of people using this XPS or EPS type product, you're gonna find that most people build frames like this in the van, in which then they cut that styrofoam to fit inside those frames. And the whole idea behind it is to create a frame that you can step on so it won't compress the styrofoam. But I'm telling you, they use this stuff on under floors already and it doesn't compress. This is what it's made for. So the 2 problems I see with the framing is, A, you got to take these 1x2s or 2x4s and you actually got to glue them to the floor, in which everywhere where there's a rib means there's absolutely 0 insulation between that floor and the floor you're actually walking on. 0 insulation at all. The cold, the hot will go right through that wood. Number 2 is, well, I'm sorry, that just looks like a ton of work. Cutting them all out into individual squares when you don't have to. It's craziness. So if you remember way back when we tore that van apart, we took this floor out of our van. And on the base of this floor, not only can we use this as a stencil to cut out all our styrofoam, as well as our plywood, we can also use these little rib things here, and we're going to take them over to the van, and I'm just going to place them in random spots, right underneath our foam like that, across the van, so it just adds a little bit of extra support. Honestly, I'm telling you, I stood on it when we had those 3 pieces in there. It is solid like a rock anyways. And the other positive is the spots where you won't have any of that stuff there. There's going to be an air gap underneath that floor all the way from the back to the front of the van. And air gaps for insulation are a big positive. The other side to cutting this insulation, if you actually cut into small pieces, so if you read up on this foam insulation, the whole reason why it's a good insulator is because there's a whole bunch of little air pockets in there. And that's what slows down the heat transfer. The heat transfer is the important part of this. As soon as you cut it, or the more you cut it, it releases the air quicker. Because it's only good for about 10 to 15 years, they say. Then that gas is released out of it, and really it's not doing the job it did when you first bought it. That's just what this stuff is. Not like the Insulate or the lizard skin, which is going to be the same from day 1 right to day 100. So the more you cut this stuff into little pieces, the faster that gas is going to escape, which means your insulation is going to be doing less of a job again, even though you only have half as much of insulation in it, because you can put a whole bunch of wood boards in there. See where I'm coming from? Cool. So I'm just going to continue pulling all these pieces off the floor. And just like that. So we just laid them down into the grooves where they would have been on the standard floor, and as you can see, they're perfectly level with the ribs on the floor of the van. So now we're just going to take our hot glue gun, and I'm just going to put a line of hot glue down it and stick her down in place. And we'll continue that the whole way down the van. Never mind, there's been a change of plans. And unless I go back and start this video from the beginning and re-record all this stuff, which isn't an option, we're going to start right here and I'm going to share with you what I did. So when I put these things down on the ground, they look like they're level until I actually put something straight on them. And you can see there's just barely a gap, which means these parts would be the high spot. And these are a lot wider, creating more surface area than these are. So I'll pull them all back up. But what I would like to do is these bolt holes, is we're going to use these coming up in this video to mount the floor down to the ground. Just because, although these floors should be floating, we're in a van, and just in case of an accident, and this van never rolled over or anything, I want this floor to be mounted to the ground so it doesn't come flying up and end up in the driver's seat up there. You know what I'm saying? Safety second, my friends. So I'm just going to use these now, just on either side of where we're going to bolt it down, just so when we do bolt it down, it can compress a little bit to sit on top of these. But other than that, I'm just going to lay it right on top of the floor. The bonus side is it actually saves me a little bit of time doing it this way as well. So I'm going to quickly run that through, and then I'll come back once it's done. And that's what she looks like finished. We got the bolt hole here that's surrounded. We got 4 of those at the back. And then we got a couple more up at the fronts. Pretty straightforward task. It's just gonna, again, give a little bit more points of contact just where we're bolting it down to the floor. So now, it's time to start with the insulation. So we start off using our base as a template. Hi Winston, how are you? How are you? Gonna say hi to everybody? You wanna say hi to everybody? Yeah. Oh, you bow for them? Yeah, you give them a bow? Good boy. So, we're gonna take this insulation and we're gonna use our old floor as a template. Now I gotta clean this place out a bit, just so we got room to do that. Give me 1 sec. All right, so after a whole ton of work, we've got everything moved, and we got the subfloor that came with the van on top of our insulation. Either way, now all I gotta do is take our pen, trace it all out. Give it a cut. We're gonna use our alpha knife and just trace the blue line all the way around until it just separates away like that. And we'll do the same thing the whole way around. And there we go. We now have a complete floor, the exact same shape as that, but for insulation. So let's go put it in the van. While installing this stuff, it's important, do not put all your weight just on top of the styrofoam. Grab a board, because yes, it's got a high compression rating, but it's pounds per square inch. So if you just put a knee on it, it's gonna push right in. If you put a board, spread that weight, you're not gonna have any issues. And there she is. Lo and behold, she fits. So you'll see it does lift up a little bit. That's just because it's not adhered down yet. But now that we know it fits, look at that. Look how shiny that floor is. What? So now I'm going to pull it all back up again, and we're going to glue her to the floor now. So using a PL premium adhesive that says it's good for styrofoam, I'm just going to lift up one piece at a time, put some glue along the ribs, press it back down into place. Now we have a fully insulated floor with only 4 seams. Pretty cool, right? So on those seams, I'm going to use more of our Reflectix tape and just tape down those seams just to hold all that air and moisture down into where the insulation is instead of letting it come up through our floors. See? It looks pretty clean, doesn't it? And we did that all the way to the front. So we have 0 gaps and 0 seams. So now we get to move on to the subfloor, which is a 1/2 inch sanded ply in which we're going to cut out the exact same way we did the insulation. So I'm not going to take up too much of your time with it. The only difference is that those 2 little pieces that we cut off for the back side of the insulation, I'm going to rotate that and make the little pieces at the front now, just so the seams are different than what the insulation is. Makes sense? Cool. I'm just going to move forward without recording, okay? See? And there it is. We now have a subfloor that matches the old Sprinter floor. So let's get this in and I'll show you what I meant by opposing the cuts like I did. I'll show you. So as you remember, we had the 2 small cuts on this side before. Well now, I'll bring this in. Ooh, Corona. How am I gonna get this in there? Whoa. Like that. Whoa. Got it. See? Now we have a solid floor over top of those pieces, and check it. I can now stand on top of this and it's not going to compress at all, see? Solid, my friends! See? And I can still stand up with lots of headroom. So now I gotta glue this down. Exact same way we did the other stuff, so this is just on top of the styrofoam. And there she is, my friends. exactly 3 tubes of the construction PL glue. I'm just gonna put a bunch of weight on this, let it sit. I'm gonna get me a sandwich and I'll be back. All right, so we've taken the time to glue it. Hold on. We've taken the time to glue it all down, and I put a bunch of weight on top of it, and now it is pouring rain outside. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear me very good, but I'll say it's a good thing we left that tent up. We've had that conversation before, right? So let me get all the weight off this thing, and then we'll show you what she looks like, and we're ready to put the final step down, which is the floor, my friends. The finished part that's gonna look so freaking cool, yeah! This is the product we've chosen. This is a vinyl floor, which is 100% waterproof, 15-year guarantee, and that's what she looks like inside. Look, it said Ninja on it, and as soon as I saw Ninja, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it that we needed it for our van, because, well, I'm kind of like a ninja. I don't know if you knew that or not. So anyways, this is what our floor is going to look like when we get it all down. It's pretty sharp looking, eh? Yes, 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 yes. All right, let's go inside that van. I'll show you what the subfloor looks like all finished up. See, check it out. Pretty sweet, eh? They went down smooth. So see, I cut the holes out. That's going to be for the anchors of the tie downs. And then I've made a blue line straight down the center, just a chalk line. That way, when we lay these floors, I know what dead center is, and a perfectly straight line, so we can make sure, well, all our lines on the floor are straight. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting the laminate floors down. So these ones here, how am I going to show this to you? Yeah, there we go. So you'll see on this side, you got the tongue, and on this side, you got the groove. Now they actually call these drop and click is what they call these. It's the exact same as tongue and groove. Just pop them into each other and lay them down. Now you never want them to be perfectly straight. You always want to slide one up and just keep setting them off so that none of your seams end up matching up. It's the last thing you want. Because if your seams match up, they end up looking funny. So I'm just going to do that throughout the whole van. And I think music and a time lapse. Does that sound good? Let's do that.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for.
Check it out. What? We planned this out really well too. We got one piece left, plus one that came broken. There was a few that came broken, but I was able to use them up on the small pieces in the corners. We also got our factory tie downs to be in there, which is also going to help hold the floor down in case we ever had an accident like we were talking about earlier. And there's a couple more to do. But right now, my friends, it's 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and this video needs to be up by 9 a.m. Sunday. So as you know, or as usual, however you want to word that, Jeff's not sleeping again. So that's what we usually do Sunday, is we sleep and then we wake up and we find out if our video actually did anything. Although they never seem to do anything. And that's where you guys come in. Your enjoyment or entertainment is watching these videos. My enjoyment or entertainment is watching the comments and seeing if we can actually make a video grow. I don't think we're doing bad videos, but for some reason YouTube doesn't push us. So I'm going to ask, I'm going to beg, can you please, 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 please share, like, and comment? Those 3 things are supposedly what makes YouTube do what it does. And yeah, so if you can help out, that'd be freaking fabulous, my friends. With that being said though, this is the end of the video, my friends. It's another project in the books, another video in the banks, and we're moving forward to the next one. So if you have made it this far and you haven't subscribed yet, maybe consider doing so. Obviously no pressure, you do you, but it is completely free and it really does mean the world to me. If you have subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, as always, we will see you next Sunday.
Perfect.